Welcome back here. So I was away last week to the video. One of the reasons why I was away is because I'm doing a lot more Instagram stuff and also a little more Facebook stuff. So if you haven't followed my Instagram at Kamiyama PT, go check it out, and if you can follow, which would be great to see some of you here. I'm getting over this mental block of utilizing Instagram. I wasn't a big fan of Instagram and Facebook just because I felt like there was so much addictive quality, and it just doesn't the mission of those companies I'm not a big fan of. However, if I use that to help use that as a tool to help me kind of connect with other people and actually genuinely express who I am, I'm starting to get over that, and I have a group of people that's helping me with that. So for those that messaged me that they missed my YouTube video during this time, I really appreciate you. I did kind of makes me realize that, there are some people that is listening, and which is nice to hear. So I appreciate you for those that are watching, and I'm continuing. So what we're going to do now is the YouTube channel is going to coincide a little bit more with what's happening with Instagram. So it's a bit easier for me to make production and make content. So I hope this works. So today we're going to talk about walking, right? So, when you're walking, there's a lot of things happening as you see in this video. And have you been a person that when you're walking, like when things were hurting when you're walking, you're like, I can fix it while I'm walking. So you try to and I've done this thousands of times where I will go walk and I'll go, okay, it goes from the heel to the pinky side and back to the big toe side and pushes through. Or I need to make sure I swing my arm and etc. And what I will start doing is I will think a bunch of different things all at the same time to try to correct my walk. Now, for those that are trying to do that, I want you to try that. It's good to experience and experiment things. But the more I understood the brain, the more I understood how walking happens, I try to go in that direction to help it out. And by experience perspective and also anecdotally, and some of the science where I'm trying to meet the two halves here, I realized that it's very, very difficult to correct a walk during a walk. And I'm going to refer to this paper here, not the paper, but this book here, and you probably see in the screen, called Human Locomotion from Dr. Thomas Michaud, and he's a chiropractor. And this is a bit, it's not old, but I think it's not, I think there's going to be a new one sooner or later from him or other people when it comes to Gait. But it's a good book when it comes to getting evidence-based stuff about the Gait from the waist down. Now, one thing I want to talk about here is the page that talks about ideal motions during Gait cycle. And it talks something interesting here. And trust me, it will relate to something. And I'm going to read the article here, this paragraph, excuse me. The neurological mechanisms necessary to complete a Gait cycle are unusual in that swing phase motions are reflexive and present at birth. For example, an unbalanced toddler will immediately swing the lower extremity into a protected position, while movements associated with stance phase represents a learned process. I'm going to read one more here. Scott et al. Supports this statement with the clinical observation that children born without sight make no spontaneous attempts to stand up and walk on their own and will only do so when physically guided. With or without sight, once upright and moving about, children immediately begin experimenting with a wide range of walking and running patterns, subconsciously analyzing the metabolic expense associated with each variation gained. And this is now it's me talking here, this is a time-consuming process that could take about a decade to get better with. Now, why am I talking about that? And I'm using here just to help us reference and talk about how it connects to my practice, is when you're walking, there is an incredible amount of complex things happening into this continuous motion called Gait. And I tell my patients and clients that I work with, saying, when you're walking, there's a lot of many reflexes coming together. So if you ever had like a newborn baby and you just hold them and you just lean them forward, they actually start walking, not by themselves but due to a reflex. So those things are already happening, and reflexes are really, really fast. So it's not something that we can consciously think about and control, right? If we do try to do that, you'll mess up the rhythm. And the stand space part, when you put your weight, the leg on the feet on the ground, and you're weighting your body there, that is a learned process through a lot of the developmental kinesiology stuff, where you learn how to roll, crawl, and you really learn these things subconsciously and through experience. So why am I talking about this? Why am I addressing this? And I'm doing this so that I think it is helpful to people that are listening here, is when you try to correct a walk during a walk, it might not work very well. And this is through my experience with others and talking to colleagues and everything else, because it's such a complicated process that if you think too much during a walk, it will likely not work in the long term. Now, I'm not the type of person to tell you that you can't change a walk. What I often do here is I try to work a component of a walk, work on that, and then let the thing happen during walking. So a good example here is, let's say there's a person that doesn't know how to turn the chest, right? Turn your upper body. So they don't do that when they're walking. So what I would do is actually do something like in sitting or in some other direction, where I'll actually teach them how to rotate their upper body independent from different parts of the joints, have them feel what it feels like, and then do something to transfer it. And most of the time I'll just say, hey, kind of let it happen. Remember the feeling of kind of a work, like twisting or rotation, and just letting it happen. So you're not overthinking things, and you're letting the things that are happening subconsciously and unconscious in the back of the mind to just start connecting itself. So you're putting together how all the brain parts work together. So let's review back here before we finish off. If you're one of them that was like me when you tried to correct a walk during a walk, or if you're a runner and you try to correct a run during a run, right? Consciously, you're thinking too much. It probably has not worked long term, right? Of course, I might be proven otherwise, but a lot of my experiences and information and science has also given me that idea that it's not very good to mess with something that has so many complicated things and works so fast. So if you do try to correct a walk, or if you do try to correct a run, try to keep it as simple as possible. Meaning you're going to do one or two cues and that's it. Or you break that up into different parts and you work on it, improve it, and then let itself happen. Not let that therapeutic effect happen in walking without thinking too much. Right. So this is something to work on. So I hope this helped, guys. Right. For those that are listening, there are points in my clinical career where I learned how to let things happen, because that is what, all the science also tells us. Certain things it's better if you just let it happen, and then work on the things that it's probably good to become aware and reverse engineer and break it down. Right? It's not always about thinking. It's not always about doing, consciously controlling everything. Sometimes it's about letting the thing us as a human brain and human being can do. All right. So thanks for watching, guys. Whoever's staying with me. See you in the next video.